carries to me. I'd like to call the meeting to order, starting off with a salute to the flag and a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm here.
Mr. Conti?
Here.
Ms. Cusinelli?
Here.
Mr. Panucci?
Here.
Ms. Suter?
Here.
Mr. Reed?
Here.
Ms. Cantillo?
Here. Mr. Edwards?
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the Brick Township Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be posted on the Administration Office Bulletin Board, the official district website, and Channel B TV 20, and sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Brick Times, the Star Ledger, and Municipal Clerk's Office.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. Does Mr. Edwards have to read the resolution or
Yeah,
not?
we need a motion and a second.
Yeah, he said you have to read the resolution.
No, you got to have a
Motion.
motion and a second.
Okay. Can I have, we have a resolution to enter closed session. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Cusinelli and Mr. Panucci.
Whereas the Brick Township Board of Education has been formed pursuant to applicable New Jersey statutes, and whereas the board is charged with the responsibility of performing all acts and doing all things consistent with law and the rules of the State Board of Education necessary for the lawful and proper conduct, equipment, and maintenance of the public schools and public school property of the Brick Township School District. And whereas Section 7 of the Open Publics Meeting Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting of the board in certain circumstances, and whereas the board has determined that circumstances exist for such an executive session, and whereas the board has found the action described below to be necessary and proper, now therefore be resolved by the board on February 27, 2014, that the public shall be excluded from the discussion of and the action on the executive session herein set forth. The session will be approximately 1/2 hour, and the general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is student matters. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter will not be made public, will be made public if and when it is deemed to be in the public interest to do so, and the need for confidentiality is no longer required by the board.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. We'll go to closed session now, and
You need to vote, right?
No, we didn't motion.
we did vote.
You didn't.
Oh, we didn't vote, though.
No, you didn't vote. You had a first and a second. You got to vote.
Oh, I thought we did vote. No? No. I'm sorry. I'm ahead of myself.
Yes, I'll
Okay.
go to
Mr.
special.
Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Cusinelli?
Yes.
Mr. Panucci?
Yes.
Ms. Suter?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Ms. Cantillo?
Yes. Okay. What we did.
Can't schedule because you have the reorganization meeting in so the reorganization in the
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming tonight. We've already opened our meeting, and we had our closed session, so I need a motion to come back into public session.
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Panucci and Mr. Reed. Mrs. Carey?
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Cusinelli?
Yes.
Mr. Panucci?
Yes.
Ms. Suter?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Ms. Cantillo?
Yes. We're going to start off our meeting tonight with student representatives from Emma Havens, Madison Brown, and Kristen Kuehl. If you can come up to the microphone. Tell us a little bit about what's going on at Emma Havens.
Rich?
Yes.
Rich, could you lower that mic?
Do you want me to pull it down for you a little bit?
Good evening. I am Madison Brown.
And I am Christian Kuehl, and we are representing Emma Havens Young Elementary School as Student Council President and Vice President.
We have been very busy this year making sure we build character within our students and contribute to our community.
We continue to have our character education program where all students are eligible for awards throughout the year. We especially like our Giraffe Hero Awards, which honor citizens who stick their neck out and go above and beyond to show responsibility, respect, caring, trustworthiness, and fairness.
Our school hosted a math night and reading adventure night to encourage our parents to continue their involvement in our academic program. We also continued our participation in the Food Bank of Ocean and Monmouth County Hunger Challenge. Under the guidance of Miss Worth and Miss Curtis, we presented our school community with a hoedown for hunger. We donated over 1,400 pounds of food and raised $2,700.
We are proud to announce that we won first place in our division and received the Philip N. Conley Spirit of Giving Award, as well as earned the Governor's Cup Recognition Award, putting us 5th place in the state of New Jersey. Looking forward, our Celebrity Reading Day will be held tomorrow, where we will invite local celebrities to read a book of their choice. We can't wait to welcome Mayor Ducey, our Board of Education President, Ms. Cantillo, as well as board member Mrs. Cusinelli, amongst many others.
Finally, as we move into the spring, we will be hosting our first ever Family Engineering Night, as well as a school-wide PJ Day, where students can donate $1 to wear PJs to school. The money will be donated back to our very supportive PTA. Additionally, our yearly talent show for 5th graders will be held on Wednesday, April 3rd, and open for all to enjoy. As always, all proceeds will go to Relay for Life. In closing, I'd like to share that I've had many great memories at Emma Haven Young Elementary School, but my only regret is that I can't stay longer.
And I would like to share, over my years at Emma Havens, I've had a lot of fun, and all my teachers were really nice and taught me a lot. When I had a problem, my guidance counselors and teachers were willing to help. It's been a great 5 years.
We thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. We thank you for this opportunity to speak to you about the exciting things that happen at Emma Haven Young Elementary School every day. Have a great night.
Thank you, Madison and Christian. Lanes Middle School, we have John Hayes and Jessica Carroll.
Hi, I'm John Hayes.
And I'm Jessica Carroll.
News from the mill. Lane's Mill, that is. We started our year with a food bank collection and donated over 3,000 pounds of canned goods to Monmouth County Food Bank.
We also collected over 15 barrels of gently used toys for Big Brother Big Sister organization. Kids will get to give these toys to a new home.
After Typhoon Haiyan struck the Philippines, we launched a fundraiser called Pieces of Peace. We collected $500 to send to the first responder efforts Team Rubicon.
Sure to Recover is an organization created by Point Pleasant for funding Hurricane Sandy victims. The Puzzle Project is an awareness alert that there are many people still in need of help. Lanesville 5th graders created a puzzle piece for the victims. We drew pictures of our favorite places at the shore. Right now, our puzzle piece is located at Antrim School, but will be placed in the community shop shortly.
1st and 4th graders have joined together in a project called Reclaim the Bay. We will be raising and caring for oysters. When the oysters have grown and are ready, they will be set free into the Barnegat Bay.
Lanesville will be hosting our annual Veterans Day event for the local veterans of our area. We will be serving the usual, snacks and a musical review.
Over 600 hearts were cut, one for each student at Lanes Mill. It was a project called Helping Self-Esteem. Every student created a picture, what I like about myself. The hearts are hung all over the building.
Read Across America is coming up, and we have many events planned, even some special guests.
There's always something happening at the mill.
Thank you, John and Jessica. For Brick Township High School, Corey Esposito.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm Corey Esposito, representing Brick Township High School, continuing to promote school spirit and character education. We would like to start off with a special thanks to Mr. Sutter for hosting the Beatlemania concert and dinner last Friday, February 21st, for the junior and senior classes. 200 students and teachers attended. It was a great success and enjoyed by all. Tomorrow, the classes of 2014 and 2016 will be hosting the annual winter formal. This upcoming week will be the Hespers, so good luck to the juniors. Back to School Night was last Thursday, February 20th, and had a great turnout. Over 100 parents attended the honors and AP sessions. This week, we held 2 assemblies, one for the seniors by the Ocean County Bar Association called Now You're 18, What Happens Next, and another for the whole school called Project Pride. Last Friday was the Evasion Tournament, which raised a lot of money for the school newspaper. Congratulations to Courtney Tully and Taylor Palmer for signing their letters of intent for Division I field hockey and soccer. Good luck to the hockey team in the upcoming state tournament, and congratulations on getting the A-South title, as well as the bowling team for their state championship. Lastly, we would like to congratulate the wrestling team on becoming Central Jersey Group 3 state champions and placing 2nd overall in Group 3. And good luck to the 4 wrestlers wrestling at regions for the chance to go to Atlantic City for states. Thanks.
Thank you, Corey. For Brick Memorial High School, I'm sorry, it's not Sean. Oh, it is, okay, I'm sorry. Sean?
Is it on there?
Yeah, but...
Hello, members of the board, administration, teachers, students, and citizens of Brick alike. So last month, some of you may remember, I began talking about mock trial and our achievements in that, and that we were going on to finals. Well, after the meeting, like a week later, we ended up going and winning. So we're here today to be recognized for that. After that, we ended up winning again a round in regions. We actually beat the 2009 state champions. And then a round after that, we sadly lost, but we went further than any Brick team in mock trial history, which is a big accomplishment for us. They're sitting over there. I'll leave anything else for when we're called up. So in Brick Memorial, we just completed the Jeopardy testing for teachers and students. This was to see who qualified for the game we're having in May. That's 9 teachers were chosen to compete against each other, each ranging from different subject areas such as like history, English, and science. And they will go 3 rounds in front of the audience, you know, students and parents. And before that, there will be students going. 3 students were chosen. They qualified because of the test they took. And those students are Alec DeBerry, Damian Rivera, and Jerry Rodriguez. Now, Alec and Damian are actually sitting over there with mock trial. Though teammates now, they'll be enemies soon. You could stand up, guys. Go ahead. That'll be in May. There's a penny war going on in our school amongst the different departments. That was set up by Drama Club. If you don't know what a penny war is teachers compete to rack up the most pennies in their jars in their classrooms. And the catch is anything that's not a penny that's put in is deducted from the amount of pennies they have. So let's say you put in $1, that's 100 pennies deducted. So it's really just like a strategy, and in the end, each teacher has this big jar of money that goes towards the Drama Club. And then we're hoping to do that again in May for a different club. The English and math departments have been working rigorously to prepare students for the HESPA next week, having specialized classes after school for literature and math. The teachers' extreme preparation has certainly made our school ready to take the test, and they're eager for the students to start taking it because it's been a long few months that they've been preparing them. Finally, in sports, the Memorial Bowling team actually today won the Group 4 state championship, and both boys and girls, but the boys were today. And this left them to be 2nd in the state. the wrestling team's team effort was cut short in sectionals, but they are now sending promising individuals into the regional and state tournament. The regions actually started yesterday, and then Friday and Saturday is the next few rounds. Finals will be on Saturday. The district champions of our team include Joe Gione, Alec Donovan, Nick Costa, Tyler Poling, and Nick Rivera. The team won the district team tournament in the tournament itself. That concludes what's going on in Brick Memorial, and as always, I thank you for letting me stand up here today and tell you what's going on, and I hope you all have a wonderful month ahead until I see you next.
Thank you, Sean. At this time, we have a few presentations and recognitions. I'm going to start out with the Brick Memorial High School mock trial. Dr. Caldez, if you could join me, and Mrs. Cusinelli.
Mr. Pazmino, I know you're in the back. Could you come up here now as we start talking a little bit? Mr. Pazmino is the coach of our mock trial team, and we're very proud of the accomplishments. This is the furthest that our mock trial team ever went at Brick Memorial High School, and it's all falls on Mr. Pazmino's dedication and effort that he put in with our students. Our students are a mixture of, I don't want to take this the wrong way, but we have a crossbreed between athletes, brainiacs, you name it. It's kind of great, our composition of our team, and seeing them all come together and work as a team. The competition was held down in Toms River at the Ocean County Courthouse. We have real live judges that work with the kids, critique them, meet with them. I mean, as an educational experience, you can't ask for anything better. But Mr. Pazmino, Ms. Cantillo is here to give you a proclamation. So, Ms. Cantillo, let me turn this around
a little bit. Whereas the Vincent J. Abruzes High School mock trial competition, a New Jersey State Bar Foundation sponsored its 32nd statewide competition, and whereas mock trial teams are given a statewide mock trial case to prepare, develop their own prosecution, develop their defense for the case, and present in it a competition format against other teams, and whereas the 2013 Vincent J. Abruzes High School mock trial competition case dealt with vehicular homicide, and whereas the Brick Memorial High School varsity mock trial team competed on Tuesday, February 4th, 2014 at the Toms River County Courthouse and became the 2013-2014 Ocean County champions. Lot to say. And whereas by virtue of their accomplishment, the team has brought great pride to their parents, their friends, their school, and community. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Brick Township Board of Education, we ask the Brick Township school community to join us in honoring the Brick Memorial Varsity Mock Trial Team Advisor, Charles Pazmino, and the 2013 Brick Memorial Varsity Mock Trial Team as the 2013-14 Ocean County champions. Congratulations.
Mr. Pazmino, we ask you to say a few words. We can give the audience just to let them know what work and time and effort went into it. This is a big time thing because if you look, our team made the front page of the newspaper, so that's exciting news for our team and the effort and everything. So, Mr. Pazmino, take over.
Thank you very much, everyone. Actually means a lot. Although I have to kind of say that when Dr. Caldez introduced and said that the team was successful as a result of me, I kind of have to take a little step back and say that it was successful for a lot of reasons. One, we have an awesome, supportive parents group for our kids. Dr. Caldez and Mr. Bruno have been extremely supportive of our organization. We have faculty members, Mrs. Rivera, Mr. Stefanelli, Mr. Jones, and Ms. Cord, who stayed after, helped them out. So it was kind of a collaborative effort. like the saying goes, it takes a village, and it really did. They all worked very well together. But really, it was those, ladies and gentlemen over there that are to be given credit. They did an excellent job. It was an honor advising them, and, it was a fun year we had. So as Dr. Caldez said, it's a state case that gets passed down. We worked very, very rigorously since September. Our season kind of starts in September, ends in January, and not even the snowstorms could stop us. When school was closed, we had one of our members, Steve Shockett, who opened up his house and was like, oh, we have to practice. And luckily, the Shocketts opened up their house and trekked over in a snowstorm and practiced and got ready for our competition, and it worked because they did succeed. So. But yeah, excellent job from my team. A lot of support that we've been getting, and thank you. Thank you very much for the recognition. So our 2013-2014 varsity mock trial team consisted of our first captain, Alec DeBerry. Our next captain's not here tonight, wasn't feeling too well, it was Griffin Carney. We had Stephanie Barneman as one of our witnesses, expert witnesses. Ryan Brewitt, another expert witness. Mark Hall, one of our alternate witnesses. Chris Hazard, one of our expert witnesses. Sebastian Giussiano, one of our witnesses. Matt Lyons, another one of our witnesses. Sean Millay, who you heard earlier tonight, one of our attorneys. Damian Rivera, another one of our attorneys. Steve Shockett, one of our expert witnesses. George Simonovich, one of our witnesses. And Rob Triano, one of our witnesses, but he couldn't be here tonight either. And that's your 2013-2014 varsity mock trial team from Brooklyn Memorial. And the Ocean County champions.
You're very welcome. Congratulations.
Great job.
Terrific work.
Jack, there's your competition. It's the attorney.
I heard very great things about your guys' performance, and you especially.
Congratulations.
All right, let's work.
Good job.
While you're up here. Congratulations. Good job.
Congratulations. Great job.
Got a mouth on. Screen went dead. I was trying to figure it out. I'm going to use mine. Same order, but. Yes, you can give that.
We're going to put that 11 million.
There you go.
It's not on the agenda.
Slide over there.
Okay. I think we got to get the project budgets fixed.
So we're going to give everybody.
All right, next we're going to give out the fall award recipients for athletics. First, we're going to start with boys cross country at Brick Memorial. I don't think Ms. McCabe was able to make it tonight. So with that, we have Kevin Veltri. He was first team All-County. And we have Kyle Muller, that was first team All-County.
Congratulations.
Next, we had girls cross country, whose coach was Pat O'Donnell. We had Dana Luma. She was first team All Ocean County and second team All Shore. Next, we have Hope Byer, first team All Ocean County, second team All Shore. Congratulations.
Great job.
And next, we have Caitlin Lapuma, third team All Shore. Next, we have field hockey. The coach is Courtney Ars. First, we have Amber Neerman. I missed one. Oh, cross country. Excuse me. Yep, I'm going to read it from here. Emily Byer, third team All County. Thank you. Sorry.
Way to go, Emily.
I'm going to blame Mr. Bruno when he gets back, all right? He gave me his list. I'm using...
Great job.
I'm going to use Mrs. Byer's list.
Yeah.
Okay, back to field hockey. Amber Newerman, All Ocean County A South Divisional Team. Next, Stephanie Carino, Ocean County Senior All-Star. And I know I'm going to mess this last name up. Jillian LeQuique. Okay, Ocean County Senior All-Star. Okay, how do we say it? LeClaire. Sounds a lot easier. You're right, than it looks. And last, we have Brielle Catley. Oh, thank you. All right, next we go to girls soccer. Could be a really good one. Olivia Nazaro, first team All Conference, honorable mention, All State. Next, we have Kyra Korber, second team All Conference, third team All Ocean County. Next, we have Madison Farley, second team All Conference. Next, we have Julia Kirkpatrick, second team All Ocean County. Next, we have boys soccer, and Coach Ferrillo, you're in the audience. Would you come up and introduce your award winners? As Mr. Ferrillo walks up, Mr. Ferrillo was the Ocean County Coach of the Year and was the coach in the All-State soccer game also. Coach, there you go.
All right. Sounds good. First guy we got up is senior Dan Sproles. He was All-State honorable mention and All-A South third team. Next guy we got up, Garrett Garcia. He was All-State honorable mention. Next up is Logan Zielinski, another member of the All-State honorable mention team. Next is Brian Switer, All-State honorable mention, first team All-Division, second team All-A South. Unfortunately, the next guy couldn't be here, Brian Malerba. He was All-State honorable mention, first team All-Division, and second team All-A South. Last but not least, Kevin Simic was first team All-State, first team All-Ocean County, first team All-Division, and first team All-A South. Steve?
Stay here. And Steve, here's your your certificate here for the Ocean County Coach of the Year and Coach of the State All-Star Game.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay. Let me switch here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next we have girls gymnastics, and I believe Coach Borges is here. Pam is, nope, she is not here. I'm a liar. All right, let's go down. First, we have Emily Clayton, second team All Shore. We have Brianna Dombrowski, third team All Shore. And then we have Ariana Torso, second team All Shore. Next we have football. Mike Bazile cannot be here tonight. They have a basketball game, but Mike Bazile was first team All Shore, first team All A South, and also would like to congratulate him. He got a full football scholarship to Monmouth University this fall. Next, we have Jake Lombardo, first team All A South, and third team All Shore. And next, cannot be here tonight, Rob Triano, first team All A South. And I know he's here, Mike Nobile, first team All A South. And for our last awards athletically tonight for Brick Memorial, we have Coach Hanshin for the cheer squad, 4-year varsity awards. You got your,
I have my list.
all right.
You should know better. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Caldes. Welcome. I am proud to announce our senior recipients. Our season actually begins in May and concludes sometimes in March. This year will conclude in April, which goes to tell you how many hours that these young ladies and gentlemen put in. And therefore, I am so proud and honored that the Board of Education recognizes us for all their efforts. I am proud to announce Gia Fontana. She has been a cheerleader for the past 10 years, the last 4 as a varsity cheerleader. She plans on studying fashion, merchandising, and styling after graduation. And here she comes in her fashion outfit, Gia Fontana. Next up is Hunter Platt. She's been cheerleading for the past 12 years, the last 4 years as a varsity cheerleader for BTMHS. She will be attending Ocean County College in the fall, where she may participate on their competitive cheer team. Her major is currently undecided. Hunter Platt. Next up, I am proud to announce Alana Stevens. She's been involved in cheerleading for 10 years, the last 3 as a varsity cheerleader for BTMHS. She will be attending Montclair State University, where she plans on cheerleading, and her major is undecided. Alana Stevens. Next, we have Sammy Voss. She's been cheerleading for 14 years. The past 4 years as a varsity cheerleader for BTMHS. Sammy will be attending Ocean County College in the fall, where she will be studying to be a nurse and anesthetist. Next up, we have Brenna Whalen. She has been involved in cheerleading for the past 11 years, the past 4 years as a varsity cheerleader for BTMHS. She will be attending Kutztown University to pursue a degree in elementary education. Next up, we have Tyler Zambella. In addition to playing on the boys' soccer team for BTMHS, one can find Tyler at our school's football games as the Mustang, our school mascot. He has proudly worn this costume for the past 2 years. Last year, we recruited Tyler for participation on our competition cheerleading squad. Now, with 2 years of competition experience under his belt, he looks forward to attending Ocean County College, where he will be studying architecture and, who knows, be a part of the co-ed competitive cheer team there. And again, I want to emphasize that we don't get recognized as a real sport, but they are sports indeed, because they give their much time and dedication. They work very hard. And as a matter of fact, we just recruited a new boy the other day for our competitive team, and I said to him, "How's it going?" He goes, "This is harder than football." So I leave you with that. Thank you, seniors.
On behalf of Brick Memorial, thank you to the Board of Education, Dr. Yazinski, for honoring all of our recipients tonight. It's greatly appreciated, and the recognition in the public eye is great. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Caldez. At this time, I'm going to call up our athletic director, Mr. Hanshin.
The first thing I have to do publicly is thank Dr. Yazinski, the Board of Education, Sharon Cantillo, for bringing me back to my home, Brick Township High School. Thank you very much. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy Board of Ed schedules to honor these outstanding athletes from both high schools. They deserve it, absolutely, and we had a great football season this year. Congratulations to our state championship football team. Great job. Okay, I have some of my coaches here tonight that are going to present the certificates to their athletes. The first one is our boys soccer coach, Ken Lynch. Come on up, please.
Good evening, Dr. Yazinski, Board of Education, parents, players, community. I'd just like to recognize one player. He is our, or has been our captain for the last 2 years. He's been a 4-year varsity starter. He's been through a lot, some tough seasons, but he was a true leader, an inspiration to his teammates, a fine role model and example for the younger players in the team. He was like my coach, my third or fourth coach on the field. Very mature young man. He went through a lot with injuries with both knees, and to his credit, he came back from that and played his senior year and did an outstanding job. And for his efforts, he was recognized as being All-State Honorable Mention, Group 4. And I wish Shane the best of luck. He's been going to York College next year. So Shane Gilligan, come on up and get your award, please.
Good job, Shane. Congratulations. Thanks. Okay, next up, Coach Acropolis, our cheerleading coach. Could you come on up and hand out your certificates to your cheerleaders, please?
I'd like to thank you for recognizing the cheerleaders. As Coach Hanshin mentioned when she was recognizing the Brick Memorial cheerleaders, the girls put in a great deal amount of time. They practice almost year-round. They participate in numerous events, they cheer at all the games, and they compete as well, so it's a very long season for them. In addition, our seniors this year are also involved in numerous other activities and sports. They're honor students. They're really a wonderful example for our school, so we're very proud of them. Let's see, I have Christine Anderson. It's our first senior, 4 years. She's been cheering for 6 years. She plans to study physical therapy at Damon College, and she's also a junior demo for the AYC cheerleaders. Sure. We have Sydney Coons, who could not be with us tonight. Brianna Kazera.
who is also not with us this evening. She's here. Mackenzie Groeschel, also not here with us this evening. Tiffany Kemper. Ashley Riley. And Amanda Mers, who is here with us this evening. Amanda's been cheering for 13 years. She plans to study dentistry at Stockton College in the fall, and she is also a junior demo for the AYC cheerleaders. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Our next coach up, our field hockey coach, Coach T.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Dr. Jasinski and the board for your continued support of our athletic program. Tonight, I'm very lucky to honor two seniors who I had to make notes because they made such an impact on the program that I had to make notes. When I took over 4 years ago, there wasn't much history for the program, but these two athletes have made such an impact. Combined, in the last 4 years, they've scored 50% of our goals, our team goals. So that's going to be hard to follow. But they've done an extraordinary job. They've contributed to us making 3 state tournaments and hosting 3 years in a row and making the short conference for the first time in the history of the program. Our first senior, she is going to continue an athletic career. However, her mother's one of the best bowling coaches in the state, so she's going to bowl in college. Carson Lukosius, she was selected this year. They've both been elected every year to numerous all-star teams. This year, Carson was selected to first team All A-South Senior All-Star, Star Ledger All-Ocean County, and she's also been nominated to be one of the National Field Hockey Coaches Association's academic team, but we're waiting to hear. It'll probably be tomorrow like last year. I found out the next day. And then she currently holds the scoring record for the, one season this year with 15 goals. She will continue bowling in college, and she was our second ever leading scoring goals with 25 goals. Our next senior, Courtney Tolley, has competed nationally. She's been playing hockey since she was in 6th grade, and she joined a club team in 7th grade, so she's been traveling nationally since 7th grade. As a senior, she was selected to first team All A-South, A-South Senior All-Star, Star Ledger All-Ocean, third team All-Shore, nominated National Academic All-American. She currently holds the record for the most goals in a career with 31 and the most assists, 18. She's the first field hockey player in the history of Brick Township High School to participate in signing day, and she signed and she will be attending Limestone College, where she will play field hockey next year. Thank you.
Mr. Filippo, do you mind if I just give one out and then we'll do football last? I have to ask him because he is my boss. Okay, Coach Berardinelli, our girls soccer coach, wasn't able to be here tonight. He had prior commitment, and he is still coaching some wrestlers in the state tournament. Okay, we had one girl that was the A-South All-Division team member. When I saw this girl this year, when I came back, I knew she was going to be a good soccer player because I saw her last name. Last name's Palmer. When I was here coaching back in the early 80s, I coached her dad, and her dad was an outstanding player, so she had good genes, so I know she'd be a good player. Taylor Palmer has received a full athletic scholarship to play soccer at the University of Vermont. Come on up. Taylor? Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Philippone.
Thank you, Mr. Hanchin. Thank you, Dr. Uzinski, board members, again, as everybody else has said, for taking the time to honor these fine young athletes. We're very proud of all of our athletes, and especially our athletes that reach state championship caliber. And we've been blessed this year, and as we move forward through the school year, we certainly will honor other state championship teams that have occurred since football. So we've really been very blessed this year with fine athletes and wonderful coaches. But today we're talking about football, and when you talk about football, just like when you talk about a school district, the superintendent's the most important person, the head football coach is. And coaching football is a year-round activity, and the only thing that would have kept Coach Dahl away from being here tonight to be here to honor his young men is the fact that he is at a football clinic. Guy works 12 months a year, but the first person I want to just honor is Coach Rob Dahl, who was the Ace South High School Football Coach of the Year. Again, the heart of any organization or team are its senior members. So I'm gonna start with our seniors this year. A young man who couldn't be here tonight, third team All-County, Logan Smith. Another senior who was outstanding in his play and is a real gentleman in the school, somebody who was an example for all of the younger players on the team. Mike Mirator was first team Ace South and third team All-County. Without outstanding leadership, especially in a football program, you can have the greatest talent in the world and you really don't achieve the goals that you would like to achieve. We were very fortunate to have perhaps one of the best leaders that I have had the opportunity to watch in a locker room with his fellow players. He was respected by everyone on the team. He comes from an outstanding family. He is as fine a gentleman as you will find anywhere. He most likely, if they're smart enough, will be attending the Coast Guard Academy. Matthew Ulafanua was first team Ace South, second team All-County, and second team All-County. Matthew. No Matthew. Certainly a story that we've all heard, and one that is about a young man that's very deserving of all the accolades that he has received. He has overcome numerous barriers to have an outstanding career here at Brick Township High School as a kicker. He will be playing in the All Shore Classic in July. We all know his name. He was first team All Ace South place kicker, Anthony Storego. Good job, Anthony. And now to our juniors. The first young man was not able to be here tonight. He was third team All-County, Jake Layton. A young man who is with us tonight, again, an outstanding student, outstanding individual, somebody that we're very proud of in every single way. He was first team Ace South, second team All-County, and that is James Giuliano.
Congratulations, James.
It's always nice, I coached football for a long time here, and it was always nice to know that you had players of the caliber of James and the two young men that I'm going to talk about next that were coming back for their senior year. And I have had conversation with both of these gentlemen and told them about the gifts that they have athletically, but the importance of leadership and how important it is that they lead next year's team if, in fact, they want to achieve the same goals that they did this year. And I believe that they will be the type of individuals that will do that. But they received a tremendous amount of recognition this year. The first young man was first team All-A South, first team All-Shore, first team All-County, first team All-State Group 3, and third team All-Groups. So out of all of the kids who played high school football in the state of New Jersey, he made third team. He is our quarterback and our leader, Carmen Scalfani. Good job, Carmen. And last but certainly not least, young man just got done wrestling last night. He is, again, a person who has matured every single year that he's been in high school, and my expectation is that is going to continue. He needs to be a leader. He's an outstanding athlete, but everything that he has gotten, he has earned. He has worked exceptionally hard, and he deserves everything that he's gotten. He is first team All-A South, first team All-Shore, first team All-County. He was the A-South Defensive Player of the Year, and the overall, all the players in Ocean County, the Ocean County Player of the Year, Ray Fatarusa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Philippone, and I just have one other comment to make. Welcome back, Mr. Hanshin. Next, I'm going to call Mrs. Barbara Stansberry. Is she here? To give out the Voice of Democracy Awards.
Good job.
Brick Memorial High School.
Thank you very welcome. Thank you for having us tonight. The Voice of Democracy is a nationwide competition. It is offered first at the middle school level, where it is known as the Pilot's Pen. It's also known as the high school level as the Voice of Democracy competition. It is open to every high school student in Brick Township. In my public speaking class this year, the competition was held, and the topic this year was why the students are optimistic about their nation's future. You can imagine that for teens, this was a pretty daunting task. However, the students rose to the challenge, they succeeded, and they were able to compose and record a 3 to 5 minute speech. We were very fortunate enough in Brick Memorial to have first, second, and third place winners. We were also very fortunate enough to have, for the first time in Brick Township Schools history, a first place in the county winner as well. At our high school level, our first place winner is Ms. Taylor Smith, who sadly cannot be here tonight due to other obligations. Taylor Smith also was selected as the Ocean County winner. She beat out more than 200 high school students.
Wow.
Which is pretty impressive. Taylor Smith also, she went on to the state competition, where she was invited to a state dinner in Sayreville, New Jersey on January 24th, where she competed first place in every county in New Jersey. And although she did not finish first, she finished in 4th place. So that is pretty impressive. She was also the winner first at the township level of a $300 cash scholarship. At the county level, she was the recipient of a $500 cash scholarship. And for finishing in the top 5 in the state of New Jersey, she was the recipient of a $1,000 state scholarship, which is pretty impressive. Unfortunately, Taylor cannot be here tonight. Also, our second place winner, senior Miss Alyssa Rossetti, who is at her final dance competition tonight, so she cannot be here. She was the winner of a $200 cash scholarship, which is pretty impressive as well. And then finally, our one recipient who is here. This young man is pretty impressive. This was the first year in Brick Township Schools that we opened this course up to freshmen. And this young man walked in the first day of class, saw he was surrounded by 14 seniors, looked around and said, "Oh gosh, what am I going to do?" I refer to him as our pet mascot. Everyone in the class loved him, they embraced him, and I think he pretty much shocked the entire class by winning third place and a $100 cash scholarship. Mr. Ryan Kowinski, can you come on down? Congratulations, Ryan.
Great job.
You're very welcome.
Congratulations.
Obviously, at the township level, this competition would not be made possible, obviously, without the support of Brick Township Memorial High School. Dr. Caldez, thank you to the Board of Education for acknowledging us. And finally, a special salute to the veterans of foreign war who sponsored this at the county level. They continue to support us, they continue to come in, they continue to raise awareness of why it is important for our teens to be outspoken. And we were honored enough to be invited to an award ceremony on January 29th. And Taylor and myself, we look forward to attending a statewide dinner in Bayville on March the 9th. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Stansberry. At this time, I'll just take a minute to let our students and parents exit that don't want to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Great job.
Uh-oh, typo.
I don't know, that's just the advisory.
You leaving? See you later.
No, she doesn't, because I had just issued.
It's supposed to be like that.
You want to meet Pure from the crazy lady?
Okay.
It's in operations.
No, so I know there's
The last one.
I know.
Thank you, Kevin.
That's where my head is.
Nice job. Congratulations.
There he is.
They all can't hear. I mean, like, they say congratulations.
Good night.
Good night. I don't know if they're
Good night.
embarrassed.
I know.
They don't want to look at us. I'm sorry? I don't know.
They were all.
Oh, yes, just
point.
today. Concealing some of the real light ones. Thank you.
Mine's falling out. You don't ask me anything?
I love that.
Where are the blanks?
Jumping up and down the hall.
Good night.
I'm like, give her an award.
You talking about this letter?
Thank you.
Rich?
No, that wasn't it. Because what we're approving is the additional work. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's the flat fee of $10,000. Okay, it was the resolution that was blank. I guess I wasn't able to pull that up. No, that makes more sense.
Okay, moving right along, we're going to start our committee reports. Mrs. Cusinelli, Communications and Public Engagement.
Thank you, Ms. Cantillo. Our committee met on February 11th. It was present were myself, Dr. Uzinski, Susan Keating, our Chief Academic Officer, and also Jim Bale from our Technology Department. Just to summarize what we discussed, we are reviewing a maybe more user-friendly way to get our athletic schedules on our website, in addition or in lieu of the current system that we're using. We also discussed the upcoming newsletter, our spring edition, so be on the lookout for that. Also, stay tuned for the programming that we will be having that will be on BTV. and that will be done in conjunction with the high school TV production classes. And what we also discussed was, and I'll just put in a little plug for it tonight, if you have not already signed up for our Honeywell alert system, please go on the website and make sure that you do that, because it's really important to make sure that you get the alerts that you need, and it's great because you can really tailor it to exactly what you want and where you want it to come to you, whether it be through your home phone, your email, text message, or any combination thereof. So if you haven't done so already, please, parents, take a look at that. And lastly, I just want to say that if, like myself, Mr. Conti, and Mr. Panucci, you are part of the prestigious alumni of either Brick Memorial, in our case, or Brick High School, you can sign up now directly on our website to be in a database to be recorded in our alumni archive. So we'll have that database available then for future information. So please look, and it will, there's one for Brick Memorial and one for Brick High School. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Cusinelli. Curriculum and instruction, Mrs. Suter?
Thank you. We had our meeting on February 11th, and in attendance was Dr. Uzinski, Dr. Morgan, Mrs. Cusinelli, Mr. Philippone, Dr. Caldez, Mrs. Stump, Mr. Goff, Mrs. Keating, Mrs. Russell, and Mr. Puglisi. The special education summer program, Mr. Goff, Mrs. Russell, and Mrs. Stump presented their suggestions for a new summer program called Brick Behavioral, Academic, and Social Education, better known as Brick Base Camp. The district has approximately 300 students between extended school year and Camp Beatleston. This type of program will be geared more towards academic learning and maintaining student performance throughout the summer. Mr. Goff, Mrs. Russell, and Mrs. Stump will come back to the committee when they have specific information on the numbers of students for the program and the staff needed. I also wanted just to take a second to thank the Knights of Columbus. I found out in this meeting that the Knights of Columbus donate the money for field trips for all the students throughout the summer, throughout this program. And they also donate the money for all of the snacks that this program gets. And they've been doing it for over 30 years, correct?
Wow.
I'm sorry? Yeah, long time. So thank you so much to the Knights of Columbus for their generosity. You do amazing things, and the students really appreciate it, and the district really appreciates it, so thank you. K through 12 social studies, Dr. Morgan informed us that she and Mr. Bruno, the social studies supervisor, met with the middle and high school social studies teachers to discuss the curriculi. Further discussions were held this month, and Dr. Morgan will update the committee at the next curriculum meeting. College essay writing. Currently, college essay writing is addressed in English 4, which is senior year. Mr. Jarman is reviewing the curriculi and will inform the committee at next month's meetings of any modifications. SAT review class. Currently, the program of studies states students must take both the math and the English section of this course. In September, students can enroll in just the math or the English separately. It will be accommodated on an A-B schedule, and addendum will be added to the program of studies. Extended Day, also known as Rebound. This is a program only at Brick Memorial High School for non-classified students. In September, Brick Township High School will be offering a similar program with a fifth block utilizing APACS, which is our online course software, as long as students meet certain criteria. That's it. Thank you, Ms. Cantillo.
Thank you, Mrs. Suter. Mr. Reed, facilities?
Thank you, Ms. Cantillo. We actually had been snowed out of our regular facilities meeting, so we had a make-up meeting this past Tuesday night up at the Board of Education headquarters building. So in attendance were all the people that are here at this board meeting, along with our architect of record. The reason we needed to have everybody together is we had to go over all the different projects that we're doing in the district. As you probably have heard at prior meetings, we did have the state approve $9.7 million of regular operating district grants, which they pick up 40% of the total cost of those grants, and the local share is the rest. So that was very helpful as far as all the projects that need to be done. We also had a proposal on the agenda at last month's meeting that we had to review as a group. to make sure everybody was clear on our direction. That involved going out for what we call an equipment lease to finance projects over a 5-year period so that we can get them done more quickly and have it paid for over 5 years. We have a number of projects that we want to include in that lease. In addition to the local share of the ROD grants, we needed to do a lot of work here at Brick Township High School. As you can feel, there's a lack of controls in a lot of the heating and cooling systems in this building. It seems to me it's very hot in here tonight. I don't know about everybody else.
I agree.
So without the proper controls, you can't regulate the heat, and we hear it all the time where it'll be freezing outside and some of the rooms will be so hot they have to open the windows to get some cool air in. So all this gets back to the heating and cooling systems and the controls that regulate them. So there's a lot of money to be spent fixing these up, and we asked the board members to go over a list of about 12 projects that had been presented by Mr. Campbell, who was also at the meeting last night and is very involved in fixing up schools throughout the district. Unfortunately, we don't have enough money to do everything at once, and then it becomes a question of priorities. We have on the agenda tonight looking at upgrading the electrical system here at Brick and trying to determine our future needs in terms of electrical capacity, so that when we replace the transformers in the building and bring new conduit in from JCP&L in the street, we have the right capacity, so that if we ever did go to air condition the gymnasium in this building, we would have enough electrical capacity. So these are the kind of things that were discussed on Tuesday night, and we had a lively discussion and decided that after we get our architect to do project budgets for the items that we need to look at here at Brick Township High School, then we'll make a formal request at the next board meeting to fund this 5-year equipment lease. And we also decided that at this time we would not move forward with a request for proposals on an ESCO, an energy-saving company, to do additional work, because we decided we could also do that in the future. So it's hard to get our hands around all the projects that need to be done. As we know, we have schools that are aging, equipment that hasn't been fixed for years, and over the last 4 years we've spent quite a bit of money, millions and millions of dollars, trying to catch up on repairs and capital improvements. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Do you have a finance report also?
I do.
Wow.
I do. Lucky me.
Yes.
That's why I need the water, and I want to thank Dennis for getting some, Mr. Philippone for taking care of us. It's a fair trade, right? Okay. We held our Finance Committee meeting in between the snowstorms on February 12th. In attendance were myself, Ms. Cantillo, Mr. Talty, Dr. Uzensky, Mr. Edwards, and Janine Richardson, who is our new cafeteria manager. The first thing we went over with Ms. Richardson was her report. She's happy to report that in the month of January, we had a profit of about $20,000, and our year-to-date loss is now down to $20,000, which sounds bad, but compared to a year ago, we had a loss at this point in time, which is through January, of $145,000. So, you know, as you people that have been good enough to come to these meetings over the past few years, getting the cafeteria into profitability has been a point of emphasis for the board. And I think we've got the right manager in Ms. Richardson to make it even more profitable. Basically, she has some new menus, weekly menus in the high school, so that the people can see what's going to be offered for the whole week. Some fun lunches, and We're looking at the possibility, depending on the cost, of having universal breakfasts on school testing days. So we're going to consider that. What does that mean? That means we would provide everybody in the school with breakfast on those days, not just the few that have ordered it or the free and reduced lunches and breakfasts that we provide. So we think getting the kids with a good breakfast would be good for testing, and that's why we're taking a look at it. As we've always done, we review and approve all budget transfers that are requested by the administration so that we can make sure that the board's priorities, which are the students and educational activities, are realized to be our highest priority. Mr. Edwards shared with the committee that through the efforts of Connor Strong, our insurance consultant, we will be receiving $122,632 from Express Scripts because that outfit did not meet all the discount guarantees for prescription that was contained in their contract for the 2012-13 plan year. So we're looking forward to using that money in the budget. We'll take a look at our experience data for our health plan to consider whether or not we want to take a flyer at self-insurance as was done in Toms River. We requested that Mr. Edwards set up a meeting with Integrity Health to discuss how the self-insured plan they have established in Toms River works and whether it may be an option for the Brick Board of Ed. We're taking a close look at our workman's comp insurance. We scheduled a workplace safety meeting that was held. We have those monthly now. It's very important to figure out what went wrong in a workman's comp injury and how we can correct the situation so it doesn't occur in the future. We feel that there may be cost savings that we can realize in our workman's comp insurance, and we're pursuing that. There'll be more on that in the future. As far as the 2014-15 budget, we're well underway working on that. We will be presenting a preliminary budget at our next meeting in March. That's the date, March 20th, that we need to have a preliminary budget done. However, with the changes that the state passed in the law, which we advocated for, and was approved and signed by the governor, our final budget, instead of having to be in by March, as it was in past years, won't be due until, I think it's the first week of May.
May 14th.
May 14th. That's the second week. I stand corrected. Thank you. The good news there is that if we could get the cooperation of everybody that plans to retire at the end of the year and won't be back in September, we can have a more accurate approach to our budget. So, you know, if a senior teacher or administrator retires and we replace them with a brand-new teacher or administrator, there is some we call it breakage in the salary there, and if we know that ahead of time, we can figure that into the budget. If we had known some of the retirements last year when we approved our budget, we might not have had any increase. So we're constantly looking for ways to save on expenses because it's very hard to raise revenues. That would either have to come from the taxpayers or through our state school aid. I will say that we found out today we got an additional $184,000 in school aid from the state. As you heard, the governor announced that he was slightly increasing school aid, so we got a slight increase in ours, which is good news.
You're stealing my thunder, Larry.
Oh, sorry.
I'm kidding.
Stealing his thunder. But anyway, that's the good news there. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Talty, Human Resources?
Thank you, Mrs. Cantillo. On February 19th, we met at 10 a.m. Present was Sharon Cantillo, Karen Cusinelli, Dr. Uzinski, Dr. Morgan, and Ted McFadden, and myself. There were many, many, many issues that we discussed. I have a whole list here of things that we discussed. I'm not going to go through all of them, because all of them you can find on the Human Resource agenda that we will ask the board to pass tonight. But some of the items of particular would be the retirements. There's the gentleman, Gary Citradano, if I'm pronouncing correctly, probably not. He worked for 28 years here. He's retiring. There's 2 people who resigned. One teacher in particular, who was an elementary world language teacher, resigned, and I have to say, this is going to be a big loss for the district. This woman gave 100% every day she showed up for work, and she stayed after work until her job was done and until the kids were satisfied. In my judgment, it's a shame that this woman, and we couldn't keep her, because I think she was that good. We talked about resignations, rescinding employment, approval of employment, leaves of absence, ratifications of leaves of absence, approval of a mentor for a new teacher, approval of special service supervisor, which will be, the board will be asked to vote on tonight. Approval of transportation changes in employment, approval of additional compensation due to increased duties, that's covered under the union contract. Approval of technology assistant, and which was put on today. Ratify a memorandum of agreement, and approve after-school extracurricular compensation for non-athletics. And that's all I have to say right now.
Well,
Thank you.
very much, Mr. Talty. Mr. Panucci, New Jersey School Boards.
Yes, thank you. For those of you that don't know, I'm our delegate to the New Jersey School Boards Association, where I'm also on their board of directors. I, along with other board members throughout the state of New Jersey, we have multiple meetings voluntarily in Trenton, different times throughout the month, and we advocate on legislative issues that affect our districts. Some of those issues that the governor just recently signed into law middle of January till now, one was the budget deadline, which Mr. Reed just explained, so the first time ever we'll have our state aid figures before we do our budget. That's bigger than I think a lot of people realize. A few other items, S-2442 was signed into law. It was sponsored by Senator Van Drew, requiring districts to screen children for dyslexia and other reading disabilities at the elementary level if they show signs of a reading problem. This goes into effect for the 14-15 school year. A-735, permitting a child who moves out of district due to a home crisis to remain enrolled in that school until the end of the school year. A3292, requiring districts to provide instruction to middle school students in responsible uses of social media as part of the core curriculum, which I think Dr. Uzinski talked about, maybe Tuesday night he mentioned it, I believe. A4072 establishes a pilot program in the Department of Education to recruit and train veterans for school security positions throughout the state of New Jersey in different districts. S1479 upgrades the crime of recruiting for a criminal street gang on school property. A3559 requiring bus drivers and aides to complete a training program on interacting with students with special needs. And A3686 permitting 2 or more candidates. This is an interesting one. When it comes to school board elections, usually for council, freeholder, assembly, senate, it's Republican, Democrat down the line. For school board elections, you pull your number, it doesn't matter who you're with, you're randomly selected. It's changing this. A 3686 is permitting 2 or more candidates for Board of Ed seats to circulate joint petitions and actually be bracketed together on the ballot. How that's going to work, I really have no idea, but that's an interesting one. I don't know if that'll go into effect this year, but it may go into effect for the following election. Friday, January 24th, I attended a Board of Directors meeting in Trenton for the New Jersey School Boards Association. I'll be attending another legislative session down in Trenton this Saturday with various legislators throughout the state. We'll be talking about our 2014-15 advocacy agenda that we formulated, discussing accountability, curriculum, education reform, and a fair school funding formula. Mr. Conti and I spoke about our first-year experiences at a new board member training seminar for about 200 to 300 board members from throughout the state of New Jersey that were in their first year. We'll be doing another one in March down in Trenton as well. It was an honor just to be able to go and talk to them, give our insight as first-year members on things we learned when it came to school law, finance, things of that nature. And for those board members that need the Governance 2 training, mandatory training, that's going to be March 22nd. You can mark it off on your calendar. The date and the time, not the date, the place and the time are still to be announced. And our workshop for 2014 is going to be October 28th to the 30th. And Madam President, that's all I have this evening.
Well, that was a lot, Mr. Panucci. Thank you very much. Mr. Conti, Garden State Coalition.
Thank you, Ms. Cantillo. I'm actually going to be more brief than Mr. Panucci.
Wow.
Garden State Coalition is a group of schools throughout the district that work on advocacy issues and legislative issues, just like New Jersey school boards, but their focus is more of an advocacy point of view. They are setting up, the director, Lynn Strickland, is setting up a meeting with local legislators. There will be one with Dave Wolf and our District 10 legislators at some point to talk about issues that are confronting his representative district. In addition, big news in the state, on the state level, Commissioner Cerf resigned as the Commissioner of Education, and on New Jersey Spotlight, it's being reported, not yet confirmed, that David Hesp is going to be in that new post, and he was actually in the post from '99 to 2001 under Governor Whitman. So it'd be somebody coming back. And when I spoke before about Mr. Reed stealing my thunder, I know that the governor released his preliminary budget figures that was going to increase aid by about $34 to $36 million. I was anticipating, just a rough calculation, that we would get about 60 if you take that and divide it by 590 school districts. So I'm happy to see that we got 3 times that in a state aid increase. So that's a good thing. And then there's also, this actually exists in the New Jersey Department of Education. There's actually a Department of Innovation that some of our board members have actually visited, the Department of Innovation. But there is a $5 million part of his budget is there's $5 million that goes towards innovation. One of those things that they are targeting that money for is that during his State of the State address, Governor Christie talked about either expanding or lengthening the school days. So for districts that come up with new innovative ways to either do things educationally, possibly go towards that request of his and his goal, that goal of his, would probably most likely receive some of those funding. So anything that we can do, not necessarily lengthen the school day, but anything that we can do to get our hands on some of that extra aid is what we'll definitely look into. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Conti. Dr. Uzinski, do you have a superintendent's report?
Sure, they stole all my thunder.
I know.
But just so that the public is aware, when we talk $30 and $40 million, because going back to what Mr. Conti said about $5 million that's available, with the new increase that we'll get for state aid, it comes to $20 per child. So just so that when you equate, it's nice to say big millions, like 30, 40 million, but it's $20 per child. So we're excited, though. I'm happy. I'll take anything that we could get to help increase and utilize it for the students. But that $5 million also that's out there is another $5 million, regardless of innovative aid for extending school days, which if you research and go back to 2000 and look when it was done in Trenton and do the research, and you'll see what happened there. But there's also $5 million for preschool. To me, that's very exciting, because if we get the children at an early age, at 3, 4 years old, prior to them starting school, and if we can address all the students' needs by 3rd grade, we can have the kids successful, and we'd be able to identify them very quickly and make sure that while they're young and a very young age, that we capitalize on making sure that they're successful in school. So the earlier you get children, all research says it, the better off we are. There's $5 million there. That I'm pretty excited about. And there's other innovations that they have. There's also money available now for the park test, because the park test that's going to be put out, we have to have all the technology incorporated, and it was at our expense, our taxpayers' expense. There wasn't any money available. Now, if you have your technology in place, the monies that are available we can apply for, and they allow the Board of Education to use those funds for anything that we would like. So that's another one that I'm going to ask the board if I could research that one. So we will go after that. I want to thank publicly Mr. Barisi, because he's been working very diligently. He's by himself, but with putting together the HESPA, along with doing all the other testing reports. And because we're piloting the park, they give us an enormous amount, not money, but work. And it's only a pilot, and we won't receive any test scores on that. We won't get any information, but it's a tremendous amount of work. So publicly, Mr. Barisi, I want to thank you for that. He does you do an excellent job, and I know, because he's in my office frequently, but I thank you for what you do. I'd like to publicly thank Mrs. Bathman, because our new Director of Special Services I met with, and I understand that the meeting now, we had a meeting together ourselves, and she reached out to Mrs. Bathman, correct? And we're meeting next week so that we can address any and all issues that will be all on the same page prior to having a consultative meeting with your parents. So we will be working immediately on getting that done, and I want everyone to know. And I thank you, Mrs. Bathman, for that, and Mr. Glickman. And also the park test, as I said, will be coming up. We do have the technology in place. We're excited about that. We are also concerned regarding the new commissioner, and hopefully all this new eye observation and evaluations and park tests and new performance data will stay in place with the new commissioner. So stay tuned, and I thank you. And again, I want to thank the board.
Thank you, Dr.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Cantel. Also, if you look at the front of the Brick Township School coming in, thanks to our electricians, they took that initiative on themselves to put all that lighting in there to dress that front up. If you notice how bright it is when you come in, that's to our electricians. So, we never compliment our custodians and I know Mr. Coutant and all the maintenance men with the snow removal, but I have to say, we have one tremendous group of maintenance and custodial workers, and they really do. I mean, they live in the township, but they care about what they have. And I came in this tonight, I walked in, and I was like, wow. If you notice the lighting, it's fantastic. So it's little things that excite me. Thank you.
Just on that note also, when you walk into the building, Mr. Reed may not have mentioned it, but with facilities, you may have noticed that a lot of the parts of this building have been boarded over for the last couple weeks. We have replaced, I want to say, just over 50% of the windows here so far.
Yes.
And eventually getting them all done.
The ceiling tiles.
And all the ceiling tiles as well. So I want to thank everybody that was involved in that. That's a lot of windows that haven't been replaced in maybe 30 years. So eventually we'll get them all done, but so far just over 50% have been done. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett.
Moving on to curriculum and instruction, Dr. Morgan.
Thank you, Ms. Cantillo. The superintendent recommends that the board approve the following items 1 through 4. Please note that item 2, items not to exceed the amount listed. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Morgan. Do I have a motion and a second for items 1 through 4?
Motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Cusinelli.
Second?
Mrs. Suter? Oh, thank you, Mrs. Suter.
There you go.
Do I have any questions from board members on these items? Seeing none. Do I have any members from the public on items 1 through 4? Seeing none. Mrs. Carey?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Cusinelli?
Yes.
Mr. Panucci?
Yes.
Ms. Suter?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Ms. Cantillo?
Yes. Moving on to operations, Mr. Edwards?
Thank you, Ms. Cantillo. This evening, the superintendent recommends items 1 through 16.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. Do I have a motion and a second for items 1 through 16?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Suter. Are there any comments from the board? Mrs. Cusinelli?
Yes, I just have a question through the chair. I just would like to probably direct it to Mr. Edwards. Could you just explain to me why the dates on 10 and 11 say July 1st, 13 to June 30th, 14, and also in number 10, why the same company, Keyboard Consultants, is reflected on both of the attachments?
Okay, so first 10 and 11, the July 1st through June 30th, 2014 is because we're looking to utilize those contracts during the current school year. I mean, the reality is we won't be able to utilize those contracts under the Ed Services contract or the Middlesex Regional contract before today, but we're looking to use them for the remainder of the school year through June 30th. That vendor happens to have a different contract for different products under each one of those cooperatives. So that's why you see that vendor listed twice.
Okay.
It's for different products. The second question on the grant application, that's for the Harassment and Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights grant, and that's the Department of Education. I don't know how else to put it to you. They're offering us money for the school year, July 1st, 2013 through June 30th of 2014. That's the grant application. The application was due on the 19th of February, which we submitted it, and this is here for your approval. It's already been submitted, however. But then on the 20th of February, the day after it was due, they told us that it's not due now. They extended it to the 29th, which there is no 29 days in February. So we all thought that was kind of humorous. So that's actually, we think they mean Monday, but they could also mean Friday. But the good news is we submitted ours the day before it was actually due, the first time.
Right. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Any other board questions? Mr. Tolpe?
Through the chair, Mrs. Cantillo. Jim, looking at the bills, how many more months can we expect the DRG to submit bills to us? It's been 8 months since we replaced that architectural firm with a new one. And I notice every month we just keep getting $3,000, $2,000, $1,500 bills.
We're under contract with them for certain projects that haven't been completed, and we have 3 more projects that you approved them Tuesday night to continue on with. So DRG is going to be on the bills list for the foreseeable future. I mean, DRG is not submitting you hourly bills for stuff that they're doing on an hourly basis for us. They're submitting bills to you for work that they've already been previously approved to complete. So an example of things that you see on the bills list for DRG now is the Emma Havens vestibule for entryway. That was a project done by DRG. That's their final payment because that project has finally been closed out. The transportation building is another invoice that's on the bills list for DRG. That was a project that they did and it's finally closed out. I'm trying to remember which other ones. On the science labs, Brick Township High School science labs.
I noticed that.
Final closeout. I mean, so, when a project's complete, it takes, there's really 2 completion dates within a project. You have substantial completion, and that's when we're able to occupy the space or utilize the space. And then you have project completion, and that's after we've received all their bonds, the submittal documents, including warranties, insurance certificates. That stuff takes months, and the architect under their contract cannot receive final payment until the contractor has submitted all their final paperwork. So the architect could have been done for months and just can't get paid because the contractor hasn't done what they're going to do.
Could you provide us with a list of projects that they're working on that have not been finished yet?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
That
Well,
way we,
when you say that have not been finished or that haven't been received final payment on?
haven't finished, haven't received final payment on.
Yeah, I think that's what you're really asking for, because there's projects that they have finished, but they haven't received final payment on because the contractor hasn't submitted the paperwork. And our contract with the architect, so that's clear, we don't pay the architect until the contractor submitted all the paperwork, because we want the architect to pester the contractor to finish. Make sense? You know, if we paid the architect, then the architect wouldn't bother the contractor anymore. So that's why you'll see it. But I can provide you that list, no problem.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Any other questions from board members?
No, just to add something on that, we do have two projects that we've gotten approval on ROD grants for that were designed by...
Three projects.
DRG. So we're proceeding with those projects because if we used our new architect to do all the design work, we would be paying extra money for work that's already been done. So you're going to see DRG for at least another year on the
that's what I'm
bills.
saying, for the foreseeable future, because they're still going to
Yes.
be working on three projects those three projects haven't even gone to bid yet. We just received the ROD grants.
Right. So it's just the overlap that's unavoidable because they already did the design work and the project budget, and we don't want to have to redo that work. That there is an overlap when you take in a new architect. And I want to say that I'm very pleased with the work Dakara Rubino is doing, and I didn't bring it up last night because he was there, but one of the things that they had in their contract with us, and it was different than everybody else's, is that they do not charge us to come to any facilities company meetings. I mean, facility meetings committee meetings that we have in the district. So he came there last night, and there's no charge for that.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Any other questions from board members? Seeing none, any questions from the public on items 1 through 16? Mr. Campbell? That's a long walk, huh?
The kid said.
This is in reference to the letter sent to Mr. Edwards from Concord Engineering. I just want to clarify a few things there. If you look in the middle there, it says, if the school district elects to convert a 12 kV, then we will need to revisit our proposed design. Did we or did we not say to move forward with a 12 kV the other night?
I think so.
Yes, and I think if you read further down in the letter, Mr. Campbell, he addresses what he means there. Because I did read that as well. The next sentence, what this means is we need to make sure we receive approval from the utility company before we proceed to convert 12470V and before the school district awards the construction contract. So they're going to do the design, and it's going to be included as an alternate, but he wants to highlight to us that we can't award that alternate, if we choose to do so, until we've received approval from the utility that they're okay with it.
I understand that. And did we not approve Mr. Hypantis to be the liaison to the Jersey Central Power and Light with the...
No, I don't recall that approval, no. But Mr. Hypantis has been working with me. We're working together with Kathy Moyer on getting information, and...
Yes.
So, I do see that. I don't know that the board officially approved him to do so, but he is working with us. He's a volunteer.
Most definitely. He's invaluable.
Yeah, so he's working with us on that, but he hasn't been approved to do so. It's just something he's doing for us.
This is what annoys me. They're going to do some revisit of the design. We've been messing around with this for 2 years, year and a half. Okay. We got a project we want to do in this school here. They're going to come back in the middle of the summer and decide they're going to finish this up. What I'd like to see or have the board do here is to commit Concord to an action plan and a time frame as quickly as possible, because we've been doing the dance with this company, and somebody's been more or less shadowing the dance, and it's time to produce.
Can I clarify that for the board?
You can clarify it. I just want them here and done.
Concord, yeah, I think I can clarify, and I don't want to sound this like I'm defending Concord, but Concord has...
You always
come to
do.
a facility committee meeting. Well, I think because they're not here, and so someone should speak and say what's happening. They've come to a facility committee meeting and informed the facility committee, which you were at, Mr. Campbell, that they're ready to go to bid right now, and have been since November, with the 5 kV project, and this need direction from us, which we decided on Tuesday night that we want to bid this 12 kV project as an alternate. They have been waiting for months for us to give them that direction. So we now are giving them that direction by approving this proposal. He has stated to us that as he did at the facilities committee meeting, that that's going to take them 3 weeks to do the design. We said Tuesday night we're going to give them 4.
That is fine.
Generous. And the intention is to have this project bid and awarded at the April board meeting, so that we can have the construction start in the summer.
Thank you.
So I don't think anything's changed since that facilities committee meeting that you were at, that he stated that to us. I don't know why we would need to ask.
Jim, past experiences with projects around here, I know better, okay?
But I think in fairness, we need to, in fairness...
I'm being fair.
In fairness to this professional, we have asked him to stop the bidding process back in November and haven't given him the direction until Tuesday night. We asked for things to be clarified within the plans, and Mr. Ifantis asked some questions, and we had some meetings. They came out, they gave us the answers, and we finally have given them the direction. Okay. So I don't think it's fair to say that they have been doing a dance and make it seem as though they haven't been doing their due diligence. I don't think that's right.
The bottom line is, you committed them to 3 weeks from now, right?
They committed themselves. You were at the same meeting.
Okay, 3 weeks from now, right?
Yes, yeah.
And that's it.
Well, we gave them 4 on Tuesday night, so I'm not saying they're going to take 4, but yeah, I mean, it shouldn't take them long, and the bid documents are ready to go. We've seen them. The bid documents, Mr. Campbell, are in my office ready to go out. We have them already.
I know.
They just got to be modified now.
I know.
Take them time to do that.
I've been down that road before.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Is there any other? Mr. Finelli?
Tell you who I am yet?
No, I know who you are.
Okay. I had a couple quick questions on item number 12, which is your action plan for the meeting that we had the other night. Okay?
Okay.
You have 4 items on there. I was curious as to why would it take till the end of May to complete this?
Lorraine. Lorraine?
Oh, sorry. No, thank you. In order to ensure a thorough process, we have to take time before, in those months, to meet progressively with our colleagues in the non-publics. There are reviews that have to be taken over programs and the amount of children that are needing services, and that's not something that's done overnight, and we don't want it to be. We want it to be a thorough process. That is the formal meeting we'll have, but as our non-publics can attest, we've been meeting with them very regularly because we want to ensure that our communication is thorough and always addresses our students' needs. Hope that answers your question, sir.
I've been a little critical of action plans before, and I'm going to be a little critical of this one. All right? There are 4 items on this action plan right now. One is to send an email to the public school principals. Another one is to put a notice on the website. Another one is to send a letter to the principals. And another one is to do a follow-up phone call to the principals. There are, I don't know how many people responsible for that, or does each person have a specific goal, but we have the business administrator responsible, the academic officer responsible, the director of special services responsible, and the supervisors of special education. So Do they know who's responsible for who, or does Mr. Edwards think you do it, and you're going to think somebody else is doing it, and it
Mr.
never gets done?
Finelli, I think everybody knows what their roles are, and I'm sure that they're going to take care of them.
You think that?
I do think that. Is there anything else that you want to ask us?
Well, yeah, your action
Okay.
plan doesn't depict
No.
any of that.
Mr. Finelli, is there anything else? We're done with the action plan.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I'll just say this, all right? I was at that meeting the other night, it was standing room only, and one of the things that became very clear to everybody in there, that these people did not want to wait months for something to happen.
I agree with you, and I think it was addressed Tuesday night, and I believe it's going to be taken care of, and I think that Tuesday night was the time that we discussed all of it. Mrs. Bathman is here, and she was fine with what Dr. Yuzinski proposed to her. We are fulfilling our legal responsibilities. Changes are being done in the special education department, and you just have to give them a little bit of time to take effect. So that's why I'm saying, I think that we've already covered the corrective action plan enough. So if there's anything else that you'd like to ask me on items 1 through 16, I would appreciate it if you would do that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Item 14, did you fill in the blanks on that? Because when I looked late this afternoon, it was still blank. Oh, okay.
Concord?
You got it. $10,000. Thank you.
Is there anyone else with any questions on items 1 through 16? Seeing none, Mrs. Carey?
Mr. Talty?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mrs. Cusinelli?
Yes.
Mr. Panucci?
Yes.
Ms. Suter?
I'm going to abstain on 15 and 16. I just noticed it now. Yes on everything else.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Ms. Cantillo?
Yes. Mr. McFadden, Human Resources?
The superintendent recommends that the board approve the following items, items 1 through 20.
Thank you, Mr. McFadden. Do I have a motion and a second for items 1 through 20?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Conti.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Panucci. Do I have any questions from board members? Yes.
Yes, Madam President, just a few, just bear with me 1 second. I clicked the
Absolutely.
wrong screen, I apologize. Through the chair, of course, Dr. Yuzinski, number 12, to improve the new employment. I just want to make sure these aren't brand-new positions, these are filling people that may have left, resigned, retired. We're not adding new jobs. Am I correct in that?
That's what I understand, Mr., if I may, through the chair. Mr. McFadden, correct me if I'm wrong, at the meeting, HR, those are not new positions, correct?
No, those are not new positions. We are handling all the items with in-house people.
Okay, that's good. You know, I just see a bunch of names on here. I just want to make sure we're not creating new jobs.
No.
We're staying in. That's a
Correct,
good
yes.
thing. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And if I am right to, this moving certain bus drivers from 6 to 8 hours, I'm assuming that is to, for instance, giving them a longer day and giving them a stipend, that makes sure that we don't have to hire extra bus drivers, extra health benefits, extra salaries we have to pay. That stipend cuts off all of that. I guess that's the reason behind that?
Yes. Mr. McFadden?
Yes.
Sorry, I wanted to take his... Yes, Mr. Panucci.
Okay, and outside of that, not a question, just a comment. Mr. Cittadino is retiring. Mr. Cittadino was my football coach, he was my wrestling coach, he was a coach in life. He's a great guy, he cared for his students and athletes, one and the same, whether you were a JV athlete, whether you're a varsity athlete, whether you were just in his gym class. He's somebody that this district is certainly going to lose. He's a class act through and through, and I just want to congratulate him on his retirement.
Mrs. Suter?
On number 3, can you tell me which schools they're resigning from?
Actually, there's, I believe one was from Osborneville, and I'm not sure which one the other one was from. I'll get back to you, Ms. Suter.
Could you let me know which one?
I sure will. I'll send you an email.
Thank you. Also on number 8, the fourth one, is that just one day is a leave of absence?
Yes,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
okay. No, I just wanted to make sure that it was just the one day. Okay. On number 12, can you tell me what has changed? Like, what changed today?
On number 12, Marcella Butterly, when we were giving the names over to Mary Carey, the list was incomplete, and Marcella Butterly was not on the list.
Okay. And what about number 18? What changed on there yesterday?
I think, it was the hours for Tiffany Conti. We had to make an adjustment there.
The hours going from 6 to 8?
Yes.
Is there a way that we can highlight, change the color, put it in a different print on any of the changes? Can we do that?
Yeah, we certainly can.
If I can just clarify, number 18 was actually added today. There was no change to it. It was added yesterday, actually, 226. There was no change to it.
Right, that's what I asked, what was the change yesterday?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I thought you said today.
No, that one I said yesterday, but, that's fine, it's the hours, but is there a way that we can highlight it?
We'll have to, I'm looking back at Mr. Grofer because he helps us with this program. So, yes, we can. You're shaking your head, yes?
Yes, we've actually pursued something, actually Mr. Edwards, other board, correct, where
Yeah.
board members would get an email with any change that occurs. So that's something we're looking to implement, but for town meeting, we can definitely do a font change.
Like highlighted or something?
Yeah, that would be great, thank you. Thank you, that's all I have.
You're welcome. Anyone else with a question?
Yes. Could I just ask if Mr. Edwards could give a clarification on number 16, so that everybody understands exactly what that's about? We had something similar last month, I know.
Not sure I understand the question.
Could you just explain, is that just to reflect 2 more retirements? We had something similar last month.
Actually, no, okay, I understand the question. It's the same thing that was on the previous agenda. The previous agenda, we had 3 yes votes and 3 abstentions, so it did not carry at that meeting.
Oh, okay.
It's the exact same item.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Seeing none. Anyone in the public have any questions on items 1 through 20? Mr. Finelli?
On item 17, could you tell me what the difference is between the Director of Special Services, which we hired 2 days ago, and the District/Supervisor of Special Services, which we're looking to hire now?
One is the head of the department, and one is a supervisor.
How many supervisors do we have?
2.
Is this a replacement or an addition?
It's a replacement. This person is replacing Mrs. Russell, who was the supervisor and is now the director.
Okay. Could you give me just a little more? I understand the second part of my question. I'm not really sure what the director and what the difference of the director and the supervisor. What do they do?
Well, the director is in charge of the entire program, and the supervisor does evaluations.
Observations, evaluations, supervises curriculum, goes in, observes teachers, works with curriculum areas. The director most of the time is in courts. Director most of the time is in court with due processes and all.
Does she have? Do you have a legal degree?
I will have it.
She will. The director is just the head of the department. Just, right?
Because I noticed there wasn't a big difference in salary.
Contractual.
And Mr. Talty touched on number 19 a little bit. $20 a day, $100 a week stipend, didn't have any explanation other than an increase in somebody's responsibility. Does that mean somebody left, or the department is growing, or?
Actually, someone changed positions, and this person is doing the job provisionally right now, and the salary between the job that they do currently and the job that they're going to do provisionally contractually allows them $20 a day differential.
Okay, so did the other person leave or take another?
No, they went into a different position in the school.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Seeing none, Mrs. Carey?
Mr. Talty?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes, I'm going to abstain on number 15 and number 16.
Ms. Cusinelli?
Yes.
Mr. Panucci?
A yes to all with abstentions for numbers 16 and 17, please.
Ms. Studer?
On number 12, I'm going to abstain on Cheryl Best, and yes on everything else.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Ms. Cantillo?
Yes. Dr. Uzinski, would you like to welcome our new staff members
If there's
and have
any-
them come up so we can congratulate them?
If anyone is here, please.
And Mrs. Russell, since you had a Tuesday meeting, can you come up? Yes, you do.
Supervisor.
Double round.
Second round.
Yes, you deserve it.
Good luck in court.
Good luck.
Monday.
Gotta get the
Do you know her? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good luck in your new positions. At this time, I'm going to ask for board comment, if anybody has anything that they'd like to say. Mr. Reed? I'm always glad to hear from you.
Well, I usually don't have that much to say, but I do have some comments I'd like to make tonight, and I will limit my comments to 5 minutes if you want to keep track of the time for me.
We don't have that.
Would you like me to?
Yes,
I don't know what happened to the clock that used to hang over our heads, but I can get my phone out and put an app on it to time you.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Uzinski for setting up the convocation that we had the Friday before President's Weekend. It was a professional development day. We had all the teachers and administrators over at Brick Memorial High School, and it was a wonderful presentation by Dr. Severin. And for those of us that were there, she is a very excellent motivational speaker, and I think she did a great job of tying together the new PARCC tests, the new evaluations for teachers and administrators, and giving everybody that was there a sense that we're all in this together. If we want to improve student performance, it's going to take everybody. It's going to take everybody that works on the facilities, the custodians, the maintenance people. It's going to take the bus drivers. It's going to take the teachers. It's going to take the superintendent and all the administrators, and it's going to take the Board of Education. We all have to be pulling in the same direction, and I was really inspired by having somebody that bright in the Department of Education. And thank you for putting that together. The second thing I want to make a comment on is I want to thank all the parents and the principals that came out from St. Dominic's and St. Paul's Christian School on Tuesday night. I can't emphasize enough how important it is for the citizens in this town that are affected by everything the school board does to come out and be heard, because that's the only way we find out exactly what's going on in the district. And no, we don't know everything that's going on. We can't possibly. We have 1,500 employees in the district that we depend on. We're supposed to be working on policies, and we're not supposed to micromanage. So that means we have to find out what's going on when it doesn't go right. And I'm sure that it will be addressed by our superintendent and staff. We have an action plan, and I want to thank all those parents for coming out, taking the time, and I was shocked personally as what's going on, and I want to express that tonight because sometimes it doesn't look like it because we sit there stoically listening, and maybe you think we don't care, but we do. So I want to thank those people for coming out. Third thing I want to mention is the budgets and expenses in the district. You know, we had to send Dennis Philippone out to get some water for us tonight because the budgets are so tight we can't even afford water up here. Now, I'm being sarcastic, but seriously, we do make, I know this board works very hard, and the administration does too, to cut expenses because it's very hard to increase revenues. We do get grants. The administration has done a great job in seeking out grants. As you know, we got a lot of money for our computers in the district, and a big chunk of that was from grant money that Dr. Uzinski went out with the staff and sought, and we got it, which is great. It's great for the students. All these efforts that we put together are for the students. Students are number one. I know this board very well, and I know they're all committed to students' achievement, student academics, student activities. So I know it's been mentioned in prior boards. I know it's been mentioned by some people in the public that if the budgets don't allow it, we have to cut back on some activities that the students are engaged in or charge a fee. And as long as I'm on the board, I will never vote for that. In my mind, all the after-school activities, whether it be the band, the drama, the debate, the cheerleading, or all the sports, are just as important to a student's education as all the academics. So we wouldn't think of charging the students an extra fee for their math class. We wouldn't think of charging them an extra fee for any other class. So as important as after-school activities are to the students' development and keeping them in goal-oriented activities, not going home and getting involved in some serious drug problems that are going on in our county, in our town. So as long as I'm on the board, when we go over all these transfers between the budget items, we make sure that they're student-oriented, academic-oriented. We're not just buying new furniture for anybody in the district if it's not falling apart. It's got to have some kind of educational value. And student activities are crucial to every student's developments. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Panucci?
Yes, thank you. I'll be as brief as possible. I just want to throw a few plugs out there. I want to congratulate Maria Sarluca, a PE teacher at Brook Memorial. She was nominated to be a teacher that rocks. What that is that every year the radio station, 95.9, people can nominate teachers throughout Ocean and Monmouth County, and they have a big dinner in April, and they nominate these teachers that rock, that do exceptional things for their students. So she's one of this year's nominations. Last year, Brook Schools had 5 different teachers throughout our schools that were at this dinner, the most of any town, I guess, in the entire Shore region. And it's just great when our teachers get honored, things outside of the school district. I want to put a plug out there for the Marching Dragons and the Marching Mustangs. On March 22nd, they're both having a craft fair and fundraiser, so you make sure you go out to that. The Brick Memorial High School and Brick Township High School, the PALS Club. What the PALS Club is the special education club for the high school special needs students, where they have regular education students that interact with them. They had a dance at Brick Memorial with both high schools combined in the fall, their first one ever, which I had the pleasure of chaperoning. It was an amazing experience. They're doing another one on March 28th, so if your son or daughter is a high school special needs child, make sure they know about the PALS Club, get involved, and go to that dance. It's an amazing experience. And I also want to thank the Patch. All too often, you see just negative things in the newspaper, whether it's schools, whether it's town, whether it's state. Journalists, it's not salacious to print the good stuff, but they have been putting out press releases that we've been giving for our students signing letters of intent, different clubs doing activities. I think Susan Keating, through Dr. Uzinski, has been sending out at least 20 different positive press releases a week, and it's starting to show. Reporters are starting to print that, and I want to thank the Patch for not just printing the bad stuff, but all the positive things that happen in Bricktown, because there is way more than good, and we should all be proud to be in this town. And just in closing, and I promise this is it, just remember Mr. Conti and myself are on the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce, and April 4th is the last time to apply for our Chamber scholarships, and it's not just for high school students. You could be going to a trade school, you can be an adult going to a trade school, you could already be in college. Go on brickchamber.com. Last year we gave out over $25,000 to Brick students. This year we have more through our fundraising efforts. Don't pass out on that. April 4th is the deadline. Go to brickchamber.com. It's not just for students in school. Remember that. You could be an adult as well, and it's not just for academia. It could be you're going to a trade school and you need a couple dollars for a class at the VOTEC. You're eligible for this. And Madam President, thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Panucci. Ms. Cusinelli?
I won't be redundant, but I want to echo how impressive, what Larry said about how impressive the district convocation was. And also, I would really like to thank the students from Brick Memorial, from the ROTC and the chorus, who took time, that was really a day off for them, and they came out and they made it really nice that they were there, and that was great. And I got my, I usually don't like getting bills, but it was nice to get my gas bill, and on the very front of their newsletter, I saw we have Ryan Scott from Brick Memorial and Kylie Toy from Emma Havens, who were recognized in the insert that went out with our bills with New Jersey Natural Gas for their winners from video and poster contests. So that was great. I'll tell you, I can't go in my mailbox without seeing the cover of the Brick Times and the bill, so it's nice to see so many of our students doing great things.
Thank you, Ms. Cusinelli. Mr. Conti?
Sure. Just to kind of piggyback on what Mr. Panucci was talking about as far as the Teachers That Rock, we actually have a second winner this year, Patricia Fallon from Lake Riv. The reason why we know Maria Sarluca is because we went to high school with Maria, so that's top of mind. But we do have two winners again this year, and it just shows the strength of the district as far as the teaching staff is concerned. I had the pleasure of seeing, the outcome wasn't as what we wanted, but I had the pleasure of going to the Ocean Ice Palace tonight to watch the boys play Roxbury, who was a pretty large team. They had a wonderful season. They wound up losing today and bowing out of the state playoffs, but they had an absolutely amazing season. A tribute to their hard work and their coach, who is absolutely outstanding. Probably one of the best coaches in the history of high school hockey, and that's the entire United States of America. So, Mr. Ariema is just fantastic with those boys, and they had a great season as well. And as far as the convocation goes, I had mentioned it a few times at board meetings, but I'm just glad that some of our other board members got to see Dr. Severance too, and it's great to have people like that come into the district to kind of follow up on what everything has been going on in the district as well, and just hear it maybe from a different voice. But it was a wonderful day, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Conti. Anyone else? Mr. Talpe.
First of all, I'd like to welcome the President and the Vice President of the Teachers Association. They're standing in the back. They're sitting in the back, sliding under the table. Second of all, the thing I'd like to speak to is components of what it takes to have really a fruitful education in our town. I think we have some excellent teachers, we have some excellent students, and I think the thing that we need to improve on, and I mean improve on it significantly, is not the people who are here. I mean, your kids are probably in school doing probably pretty good. I'm talking about the parents who are not involved with their children's education. When I go to the Honor Society at Brick Memorial, invariably I see the parents there with their children. And those are the children who are excelling. They're the ones who are getting the scholarships, they're the ones who are getting the recognition, and they're the ones who are going to good schools. I can't believe that some of the kids, some of the students in our district who are not doing well couldn't be doing much better, especially if the parents start at an early age exposing them to a wide variety of subjects where these boys and young ladies can maybe develop an interest. So I know this is going out to you people out there. Maybe by chance you'll watch it, and perhaps maybe you'll take a second look at yourself as a parent and get more involved in your kids' education, because the time spent with your child, you can't put a price tag on it. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Talpe. Mrs. Suter?
I just wanted to wish Monica Gonzalez the best of luck. I know your students will miss you. I'm sure the district staff will miss you. The woman has the biggest heart, and I've only met her twice, but you knew right away, as soon as you met her, what kind of person she was. I really think it's going to be a huge loss to this district, so best of luck to you, Monica. That's it. Thank you.
As always, since everybody goes before me, they always say everything that I want to say, so I don't really have too much to say.
We're good thunder stealers.
I'm going to open it up to the public. Anyone have a question or a comment? Mr. Finelli? Oh, I don't see anybody else raising their hand. We're calling on you.
A couple of questions, first just on some of the board comments, and then I'll get to my favorite topic. Dr. you talked about getting the 3- and 4-year-olds. I had 2 questions based on your comments. Number one, if you got them, where would you put them?
I'm not addressing that tonight. I said that research and what I believe in, and what grants that are available out. That's all I said.
You said the earlier we could get them, the better.
That's correct.
So if you got them, you have no place to put them.
I'm not discussing it tonight. I haven't even discussed it with the board.
You can refuse to answer my question.
I'm not refusing. I haven't discussed, no, Mr. Finelli, respectfully. I have not discussed that with the Board of Education or anyone yet. That wouldn't be fair to the board. I haven't discussed it. That's
Well, the reason
a grant that's out there, that's $5 million, and I'm going to, if I discuss it with the board, and the board says, I want to give you direction to go look for it, I could do that, but I could even do it on my own, but I still have to discuss it with the board first before I even entertain anything like that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So I'm not entertaining anything yet because I haven't had that discussion with the board. That's all.
In your professional opinion, what is the age limit where you really need to get those kids? What's the
In
earliest?
1981, I put a 3- and 4-year-old program in, and I put an all-day kindergarten program in. It was extremely successful, and the scores went up on all the students, and the kids were getting, by 3rd grade, everything that they needed, and that was our own research that we had done in the school, and it was phenomenal. And that was in 1981. Now, since then, I've done a lot of research on it, because going in school with the doctorate program, there's a lot of seminars that you have to give, and you have to get up and give presentations and all. And one of the areas was class sizes, another was about preschool, and all the research says the sooner you get the children, the better off that the children will be by the time they get to third grade. For example, my nephew who's Down syndrome, he was only 3 weeks old when he was put into a program. He's now 39 years old and doing quite well. He's very, very, very low functioning, but because we put him in 3 weeks, and my brother-in-law and sister were both in special education like myself, but it works, it does. It's very important to get the kids at a very early age. That's my own personal, that's what research says, and, I stand by it. That's all I'm saying. That's why I mentioned it.
My only question is, how do we pay for it? And based on this school district, how do we pay for it?
Right, no, I understand what you're saying, and I respect that.
Just a comment to Mr. Reed, and I get the feeling he was directing his comments to me based on what I said at the meeting Tuesday night, so I'll respond to them, all right? You spend about 2 hours Tuesday night talking about facilities, everybody. Quite a lengthy conversation because you projected the meeting would be over by 8:30, but it went considerably longer than that. And most of the discussion was about capital improvements and Mr. Edwards and Mr. Campbell and everybody kicking it around, right? You obviously don't have the money for that, and you were talking about going to bonds, and in fact, I thought you said at the meeting that was going to be on the agenda tonight, but I guess it wasn't. You don't have the money to do the capital improvements. Somewhere between $100 and $170 million of capital improvement needs to be done. Couldn't get agreement on that. Based on doing $2.5 million a year, you're looking anywhere from 50 to 70 years to get the capital improvements done. That works. You have an obligation to maintain the schools. It's in your own bylaws, and I read it to you, all right? You don't have an obligation to have a football team. You don't have an obligation to have a hockey team. You don't have an obligation to have a wrestling team. You have an obligation to maintain the schools. For whatever reason, or for whatever fault, the schools have not been maintained, and now you got the problem. And I understand that, as does everybody else. Maybe nobody here was involved with that, but that's the reality. You don't have the money to do it. So you have to cut expenses. You can't increase the revenue, you already said that. So where's the money going to come from to do the boilers and all those other things? You got to cut expenses. I offered some suggestions for expenses. One was, declining enrollments down 3,000. You got to cut some things. You don't want to do that? Well, then maybe you charge some programs. I understand that sports are character builders and everything else, but football is not available to every student in the district like math or any of those other things. It's only a select few to get to play. And oh, by the way, most of the activities don't have the cost of all of those sports. Uniforms, new uniforms every year without fail. Coaches you got to pay for, timekeepers you got to pay for, ticket collector, everything you pay for. Right now you're spending $1.5 million on sports just in the high schools. And some people might have a short memory, but a couple years ago when the budget was really tight, you stopped the sports in the middle schools, just cut them right out. Didn't make an offer to do that.
Nobody on this board did that, Mr. Finelli, and you saw how well that went over.
Nobody on this board.
I don't think that you're going to find one board member here that is ever going to take away an extracurricular from a student here. Not going to happen.
Taking away and having the people that participated pay some of the cost is two different total things. Now, the choice is yours. It's not mine. Right? Personally, I don't care. But if you don't have the money to fix the schools, you don't have it. You're going to have to do some things that no matter what you do is going to make somebody unhappy. Otherwise, just don't do them. You'll be talking about them next year and the year after and the year after. A couple of quick questions on this, and I won't get into a very lengthy discussion. It was on the website, so surprise, thank you, it was there. My question is, are we going to get a public presentation on this? Okay.
The answer is yes.
I asked, should I not ask when?
No, I apologize. Yes, through the chair?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Finelli. Actually, Mr. Barisi's here. He's working on it. We've been meeting, but we got sidebarred with the park that they just sent us with all the information that we have to put together for the park and get ready for that now, and then HESPA right now. And then he's also got New Jersey S that just came in, and we have to train all the people, have to get training each and every year. So yes, and that's why we put together something to put on the website that the people could see it and have it, but it is right from the state, and there is a manual there that's also on the website so that people can have that, and the principals could talk about it at each one of their schools.
Okay.
So that will help, but we will do it here, I promise, yes. Right now, we're working also on the budget.
I have a couple of questions. Should I ask them now or wait till then?
I would, Madam President, if I may, I would wait till we do the presentation so that you can have all your questions at one time, respectfully, if you wouldn't mind. Or you could call the office if you have any particular one. If you would consider that, I would appreciate it.
I really don't want to call the office. I'll wait for the presentation. So you're going to do a presentation like here?
Yes.
And then allow people to ask questions based on?
Yes, Mr. Barisi will be here, and he's putting it together now, but...
Okay. I have just two questions then, and then I'll get off.
To me?
Whatever.
Oh, go ahead.
Who put this together? The one that's on green on the...
First of all, I can't see that. I apologize, Mr. Barisi.
Well, there's a presentation that lists the concerns, the purpose of the school thing. There's three things on the website right now. There's the green presentation, there's the actual test results themselves, and there's about 16 pages of verbiage from, I guess, the guy who put this together, Barry Ehrlichson.
State Department.
That's a lady.
Yeah, right. So there's three things on there. This is the presentation, the green part, all right? I just was curious as to who put that together, because based on...
Oh, Mr.
You did. Okay, then I'll hold my questions until we get the presentation. Can you give me some type of window?
Well, we're hoping, and I promise I'm hoping that, Mr. Barisi, we're going to try by the 20th, but right now, I'm working on the budget with all the administrators in the district and putting that together. And we have to make that presentation preliminary to the board soon, and then at the 20th. But hopefully, depending on how his time frame is with this HESPA, it'll either be on March 20th or definitely in April, right, Mr. Barisi? But we're going to try for the 20th, right? He had said to me he's trying.
Is this going to be the presentation? Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Finelli, pardon me, Mrs. Cantilla, I'd like to respond to what Mr. Finelli said early in his presentation.
Could you speak into the microphone so we can hear you?
Thank you for reminding me of that. Mr. Finelli, what I said about parents and their children had nothing to do with whether they started in school at 3 or 4 years old. I was referring to parents taking their children and doing things with their children at an early age so you can expose them to things differently than they might get just living in this town. Had nothing to do with the kids coming into school. That would come at a later point.
I'm totally missing your point.
I think you implied that I was saying parents bringing their kids to school at an earlier age, because you were referring to where you're going to put them. I never made any comments about that at all.
I addressed that particular point to Dr. Uzinski because he's the one that said it, so I think he must be confused. I addressed that point to him.
Was it you?
It was me.
I happen to agree with what you said, that parents need to be more involved with their students. I agree with that 110%.
Good, I'm glad you're...
However, the next thing I have is exactly what you said, which I didn't bring up, but I'll bring it up now. If parents are sending their kids off to school, nursery school, or something else at an earlier age than they ever did, then they're not involved with raising their children. They're letting somebody else do it. Okay? And if you really want people to get involved, every week, every month you have a meeting, there is less and less people up at this microphone. To the point now of where one person asks the question, that's me, and if I don't show up, nobody will ask questions. So you've got some kind of problem where you can't get people even to come to these meetings. Look around the room. I mean, these people were at the other meeting, right? You got a couple of people who got new jobs, and there's nobody else here. Why is that?
Mr. Finelli, you know what? I'm going to respectfully disagree with you, because I find that most of the time when people come here, they're coming here with an issue that they'd like cleared up, or a question that they have, or something that's wrong.
Or the jam pack that we just had.
Or they're coming here to see their children recognized, okay? I remember being on the board years ago when the line was out the door to get to that podium because there were so many things wrong. So many things wrong. And board meetings went till 3 o'clock in the morning. The reason why there probably isn't a lot of people out there is because we are doing a good job. We do care about the children. Our teachers are excellent, our administrators are excellent, and so are our employees. And I beg to differ with you.
You can differ with me. You can differ with me.
We have a difference of opinion.
However,
we just have a difference of opinion. You see the glass half empty, I see it half full.
You can disagree with me.
Okay.
But, the point I brought up earlier about the meeting on Tuesday and you shut me down about your action plan, all right? And, Mr. Reed said he was appalled to find out the things that were going on, yet I specifically heard every one of those people said they were sending you people emails months ago. And in fact, if I'm correct, they sent them to everybody on the board, but only you and Mrs. Cusinelli responded to them.
Well,
am I correct in that assumption?
Well, no, I don't know who else responded to them. They were commenting on the things that Mrs. Cusinelli and I said to them. And I will tell you, like I said Tuesday night, that I appreciated every parent that came out that made us aware of an issue. And there were a lot of people there that night, as Mrs. Bathman is here, and we appreciate that. But that just proves my point, because they came out about an issue, they were very respectful, they got to the point, they made us aware of it. Mr. Reed was appalled. You have to understand that as a board member, we're not in every school. We're not in on every conversation. We don't administer the schools. Dr. Uzinski does with his staff, and they make us aware of things that we need to be made aware of. If a parent sends me an email, I can respond to a certain degree. I can thank them for making me aware, but everything has to go through Dr. Uzinski. He's the chief school administrator, and I believe that a lot of board members are very reluctant to respond personally because there's people out there that misconstrue their genuineness and their intentions to help, and they press ethics charges against them and things like that. So all I can tell you is that these are very, very hard-working board members. Everybody here cares about the parents that came out Tuesday night and every parent that brings an issue here. But I think that proves my point that the parents that came out had an issue. It's been addressed already. A meeting is scheduled with a brand-new director. That only happened Tuesday. She's already scheduled a meeting, and it's being taken care of. I don't see a lot of people here with complaints.
No, they were there Tuesday, and what they were complaining about, and don't interrupt me, please, what they were complaining about was what went on last September. 3 different people got up to the front of the thing and thanked you and Mrs. Cusinelli. After they said, I send memos to all the school board members, they thanked you 2 specifically for responding to them. So my assumption, and I could be wrong, was that everybody else didn't respond to them. But for board members to sit up here and say they didn't know what was going on, I find that a little hard to believe. Because they were up in arms last September. The director of special education disappeared. Right, mysteriously gone, boom. There were problems, and in fact, when Mr. Panucci asked at the meeting, could you tell the board members and the audience, Dr. Yu, specifically what went wrong in the September? The answer was, we didn't communicate to people. Now, if you think based on that meeting that was the only problem, that you didn't communicate to people, I feel sorry for you, really. And if you think that meeting people weren't excited and ready to lynch somebody and were really getting pissed off and didn't like your answers about the time frame when this stuff was going to get done, I mean, they had Dr. Yu stuttering to the point of, well, I can't give you a date because what if I get sick?
Well, Mr. Finelli, first of all, let me just say that I applaud them for being as upset as they were, because they were passionate about their children and they cared about their children. And when you have a problem and it's not addressed, you do get angry, and they had a right to be. So my point to you is, we have a new director that's already addressing these issues. Mrs. Bathman came up to me and to Dr. Uzinski and complimented Dr. Uzinski on how well he's handling the issues. You may not have heard that, okay? All I'm telling you is, people are very, very passionate about their children, and lynching somebody, I don't think anybody was looking to lynch somebody. I think that they were upset, and I think that they came for answers, and I think that they got them, the most honest answers that could be given.
You had people in that room that were saying they started communicating with you people last September, and I don't know how many of them got up there and said, and my child still has not been evaluated. And here it is now, March, the school year is almost over. And their children have not yet, I don't know what the terminology is, but that's what they were saying, they haven't been evaluated. So now, if you think that's acceptable performance, this was brought up last September. Now, I have no interest in this, other than I'm telling you what I see and what I feel. And I guess based on your comments, or you people standing up here and saying, we didn't know this was going on, I really can't swallow that. I really have a problem with that. That's all. And those people showed up, and they were not happy. They were not happy campus at all. To the point of where the two principals from the school had to come into the meeting and tell you point blank, in a very nice way, I don't know where you're getting the stories that people weren't allowed into the schools, but that's baloney. They were always allowed into the school. So for you to say that you didn't know the problem was going on, I don't believe it. Right? That's my opinion. I don't believe it. I don't
You're
think
certainly entitled to it.
You read the meeting, I know.
And I thank Dr.
You know, if you screw up, fess up. That's all I'm saying.
Mr. Finelli, you know what? Listen.
Carol's trying to say something, don't.
Dr. Uzinski for sending the child study team for BRIC. You know, we had the issue with the violation of the consultation. However, at least Dr. Uzinski did send us district employees for the time being to cover the school year.
I know he did that, and I know Dr. Uzinski did everything that he could. Were things done wrong? Yeah, they were, and I think that he's done everything he can to rectify them, and we don't know everything that's going on. When we are made aware of it, we try to address it, but, you know, well,
Leave it.
I think we've covered that enough. Any other questions?
Hi, my name is Marjorie. I have a special education daughter in Brick.
Could you state your name and address for the record?
Marjorie, Linwood Avenue. My daughter's in second grade. She's in the LLD program in Brick. I come to almost every meeting this year. I sit in the back. I don't speak. Everybody here has been saying how wonderful Brick schools are. The programs are great. I'm a graduate of Brick High School, so, you know, I went all the way through Brick schools. I loved it. I put my daughter in Brick schools. I was very excited. We had some issues through this year, she got transferred to Osborneville, so I wasn't very happy. I come here every month hoping I'm going to hear something good funding or something about the special education program. And every month, I don't hear anything. I fought for a lot this year for my daughter, and the schools are just getting more and more packed. And we're hearing about fixing Brick High School, which it needs, $2.2 million a year, and it needs it. But you know what? Our schools and our elementary schools, they all need help. We're building condos and apartments that are all supposed to go to Emma. Where are all these kids going to go? Is my daughter going to get moved again next year? They're in the bottom floor. They're combined in classrooms. 4th and 5th are combined. What are we going to do? Am I going to hear that she's going to get moved again? What's going to happen next year? Are we discussing that aside from just fixing this school? It's a big concern. I worry about her every day. She suffered socially this year because she got moved. What's going to happen to our kids next year?
I can't give you an
I know
answer
you
as to what is going to happen as far as the condos that are being built and, you know.
Are you guys looking forward as you're looking to fix these schools? I hear all that, and maintenance, but what about our schools? And I know, Dr., you're saying, you know, let's bring 3 and 4, possibly. I know you didn't say let's do it, but possibly, and you're thinking about that. But let's think, we're building condos behind ShopRite. We're building apartments down off of Old Hooper. Those kids are slated to go to, right now, if you're looking at it, they'll go to Emma. Emma couldn't fit my daughter this year. We had to move her. So where are these kids going to go? We got to look forward to that, not moving 3 and 4 years olds into the school or putting $2.2 million or this or that. We got to think outside the box now, because I don't want my daughter moved again. We don't want our kids moved or anything like that again. You know, and I don't hear that up here. You know, I care about my kid, and you guys say you do, and that's fine, but we got to start thinking for the future for them, not let's move more kids into the system, or, you know, let's just fix this building. That needs to be thought of. And another thing, we were getting phone calls for our children when there were special meetings. We're not getting them anymore. I don't know why they took them away.
New director.
Mrs. Russell, maybe you could look into that. Special education meetings.
We're getting them, and it should have gone out today.
It's on the website, yeah. As we have a new director now, we will, and
I did accept.
it's on the website now.
We're meeting next week.
March
Okay.
6th, right?
And we're supposed,
Yeah.
and Honeywell's supposed to go out, but, you know, I did speak to you late in the day, so perhaps it'll go out tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, I did approve that Honeywell, so I thought it went out.
And one last concern I have, and I'm sorry just to rehash this, but the thing with St. Dominic's and the St. Paul's, I know it's their schools, but I almost feel like this is going to affect us as well. My daughter's used to her therapist for speech, OT and whatnot, and I heard a parent yelling out the other day, oh, well, I want the therapist from Osborneville. Is that going to happen? You're saying that they're going into, you're dealing it with them, but this is going to affect us too. So are we going to hear what you're taking care of with them? Is it going to be,
No, all special ed children will be taken care of.
I understand that, but are our therapists going to go to their school?
Can't tell you that at this time because I haven't done anything yet. We just got a director on. We're trying to
Okay,
meet with
so are
them.
we going to be involved in this process then? Because you're saying you're taking care of it with
No,
those schools.
they have federal funding that they get, that we have to treat them. We are custodians of their accounts. We have to make sure that they get the service that they're required
That's my
to get.
understanding, and I'm not
That
trying
we're
to
gonna
take
do.
away their
We're also
services.
required, I know, and we're also required to give the service here.
Yes.
We're going to take care of both, so that we make sure that the services are provided.
And that is my understanding, but you're not going to
I'm not going to disrupt.
exactly, you're not going to disrupt.
I don't want to do that.
My
I have no
child's
intention.
teacher, you're not going to pull them away and give them a new teacher.
I have no intentions of doing it. I haven't looked at that yet. I don't think it's right.
Okay.
And we're going to have
That's
all
what I
these
want, because-
conversations, and we're going to have conversations with them, but we have to look at every single
Because
thing.
our children have been, I'm telling you, in Osborneville, have been disrupted enough this year.
No,
It's the last thing they need.
I agree, and I
Okay.
thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have a question? Seeing none?
Oh, wait.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Bethman.
Just to address that last comment, the non-public schools get funding through Chapter 192, 193. Our students are entitled to services. We are not taking anything away from the public school students of this district, and I want that to be clear. I know it cost, as a matter of fact, I had a conversation with Ms. Cantillo earlier, when she just came into the building. The district spends, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's $15,843. It costs that much to educate a student in Brick Township. There are 495 students in St. Dominic's School in kindergarten through 8th grade. Our total enrollment is 533.
Those 495 students, they saved the district over $7.8 million. I don't want the people from Brick, from the public school, to think we are taking anything away from the public school children of this district. That's not happening. Our students are entitled by law to certain money that comes from the state and from the federal government. And we're just asking for what we're entitled to. The whole problem that we had was there was a violation of, there has to be consultation before a third-party service provider is brought into a non-public school. Unfortunately, we didn't have that consultation meeting. There was only one meeting, and something happened that we agreed on one thing, and it just didn't happen. An RFP was made, and the district unfortunately signed a contract with a third-party service provider. We had no knowledge. That is our complaint. And that's why going forward, I know Dr. Uzinski has promised that we are going to have regular meetings, which we have, and I thank Dr. Morgan. We have had regular meetings, but our issues are, where are we going from here? We want to make sure for next year that we don't have the same problems that we experienced this year. We need to make sure we have our consultation, that we're all on the same page. That's very important. And it's true, our parents were very angry the other night, and they had every right to be. Our students are just starting to get service plans. They just got the first set of service plans last week, last Thursday. You know, that's a disgrace. But I do thank Dr. Uzinski for trying to correct what happened over the summer, putting in a team from the district to help bring our service plans into compliance. And I just hope going forward that we are able to work together, and because we're here for the children. It's all about them. And I just hope going forward, we will have a much better year going into next year than we did at the start of this year. But thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bathman.
Thank you, Carol.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Panucci.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mrs. Carey? Oh, wait, excuse me, let me just say that March 20th is our next regular meeting at 7 o'clock here at Brick High School, and I do believe, Mr. Edwards, you are going to be discussing our preliminary budget at that meeting?
The tentative budget will be adopted that night. The actual public hearing on the budget won't be until later.
Okay, but we're going to be discussing our preliminary budget at that meeting?
No, that's just the night.
Tentative?
The tentative budget just gets adopted that night.
Oh,
The actual
okay.
public hearing on the budget comes at a later meeting.
Okay. Mrs. Carey?
Mr. Colvin?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
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 Yes. Good night, everyone, and thank you very much for coming out.